I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and it's part 2 of the Nokia Lumia 810 video review. But first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit game, which we turn around and give to you on the site at instantwin.phonedog.com. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile to get your Windows Phone 8 device, you'll walk out working. They'll get your live tile set up, your camera settings, all the customization choices, and more ready to go, so when you walk out the door, you're good to go. Let's take a look. Lumia 810, it's part 2 of the review video, and it's time to find out if this device is worth buying. Let's kick it off where we left off with part 2. Part 2 of a review of the Nokia Lumia 810. You know, Windows Phone 8 is making waves, and Nokia is trying to jump on that bandwagon, especially considering the fact that this is the only OS they're focusing on in the States and in most areas around the world. It's not like a case like HTC, for example, where they're working on Android and kind of doing Windows Phone 8 as a backdrop, or perhaps Samsung is kind of doing the same thing. Nokia is putting it all in. They're going all the way in on Windows Phone 8, and so as a result, it's really important that these devices kind of receive some adoption when it comes to the carriers and comes to the customers. So this is the Lumia 810, available on T-Mobile for $150. Now, price point I think is a little bit too high on this, especially considering the fact you can get its bigger brother, the Lumia 920, on AT&T for $100. That said, decent device, decent specs. It's got 1.5 gigahertz. Oh, say that fast. 1.5 gigahertz. Got tongue-tied there, thanks to the lack of coffee that I've been drinking this morning, or no coffee rather. So Lumia 810, 4.3-inch AMOLED display with Nokia's clear black technology, 480 by 800 pixels, an 8 megapixel camera with 1080p video recording, and kind of an industrial design that kind of differentiates itself from not only the other Windows Phone devices, but also from the Lumia 710, which is kind of the previous generation device, if you will. So 4.3-inch display, a good sweet spot for a lot of people. That said, it's got kind of a blocky feel to it thanks to that industrial design. It is a little bit on the thick side, as you can see from the camera here. So you've got a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera as well, which is nice, and a 1,800 milliamp hour battery, along with T-Mobile's HSPA Plus 42 megabits per second capabilities, so you can get super fast 4G in markets that support it. Let's take a look at Nokia's applications here, because I want to go into Nokia City Lens. This is one of my favorite new applications that Nokia is doing, and we'll go into Start, and you can see Explore Dallas. So we're going to take a look here, for example, with food, and we're going to see what food stuff is in the area. Let me calibrate the compass here. And you can see when I have it in portrait mode, it shows me the food that's around my office. But then when I go into landscape mode, it kind of shows me a map like this, where I can scroll around and see, okay, Pizza Hut's around, Dairy Queen's around, McDonald's is around. I know it's kind of hard to see. There we go. Maybe that's a little bit better for you. Egg Roll Express, Subway, and you can kind of see this little area up here where it shows me all the restaurants that are nearby. So I can move around and see, you know what? Dairy Queen looks good. Let's touch on that, and I can get a map to Dairy Queen. So that's really functional, and again, keeping in mind, you know, Nokia, it's much like an Android thing here, but even more so with Windows Phone 8. It's very similar across the OEMs. You know, a Windows Phone 8 device on HTC, for example, very similar to a Nokia device. So where Nokia is trying to differentiate itself is in software. With things like the City Lens, Drive, Maps, Music, Transit, they're really differentiating themselves, so when a customer walks in, it's like, you know what, where do I want to spend my $100 or my $200? I'm going to go with a Nokia device because it offers all of this stuff. And I think that's where Nokia is trying to go with this, or Nokia, depending on your pronunciation of their name. But Gigs near me, I love Nokia Music. It's finally made its way to the States, and I absolutely love the Gigs feature where it'll show music, kind of things of interest near me. So for example, I saw one a minute ago near the American Airlines Center, and we'll take a look and see what pops up. Now, this is the one thing I don't like about Windows Phone 8, and this has been something that's been there since Windows Phone. Those little dots, it just makes the OS seem a little bit one-dimensional to me, and I could be totally odd in thinking that, but that's the first thing that comes to mind when I see those dots, or when I see those dots in an application and it says like resuming or something of that nature. But Kevin Hart, for example, Kevin Fowler, I can see all of these different gigs if I want to, Gigs near me and more. And I can come over here and see my music, mix radio. So let's make a mix station here, for example. And this is something I absolutely like. You know, let's do a featured mix station. And let's go here. Let's do Songs for Fall. This looks pretty fun. Songs for Fall. This looks pretty neat. David Guetta, Stronger. Hey, that's a good song. And then you get, of course, the background text as well. So you can get an AMOLED version of Kelly Clarkson's Blonde Hair there. The Fall, Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. And then, of course, you can go back into the home screen. And then when you activate your volume, or you go to the lock screen, you can either pause it. I did not mean to do that. Let's go back here. Pause. and then I can move back to that when I see fit. So of course I can change the ring and the vibrations from there as well. So I didn't cover this in part 1, but speaking of customizations, and I'm kind of jumping around a bit, but the Lumia 810 and Microsoft with Windows Phone 8 as a whole offers some new ones that may be of interest to you. First of all, the colors have been expanded upon. You can see here with the accents, instead of 6 or 7 different accents, you got a bunch of additional options this time around. Let's say I want to go with purple or mauve, whatever you want to call it. I can scroll up and down, and you can see the color has been changed. So in addition to the live tiles, the new colors, they're really working hard to make these devices customizable. And if you watch the marketing campaign that's centering around Windows Phone 8 right now, it's all about making this device your device, as opposed to something, instead of designing a device for everyone, we designed a device for you. You remember, the marketing campaign. If you've seen it on TV. So accent colors have changed. This is something else that's different as well, the lock screen. And you can see with background, for example, on the HTC device, you can take advantage of HTC's built-in application to get some Sense-like functionality out of it. But here all you get is photo and Bing. And as applications start supporting the lock screen, Groupon, for example, Facebook, things like that, you can add those to the background. So right now I could choose a photo if I wanted to, or I can select Bing, and then when I turn it off and back on, it gives me whatever the Bing picture is for that day. So you can kind of customize the lock screen and make it your own a little bit more than you could in Windows Phone 7. And another thing that I really like is this. So notifications, I can show detailed status of a message, for example. And then I can choose my apps here to show quick status. So battery level is one of my favorites. So I can come out here, I installed this application called Battery Level for WP8. So now finally, don't know why it's not working. Let's try that again. Should be able to see. It's like a little quirk in Windows Phone 8 there. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Let's take a look and try this again and see why it's doing that. Gotta love these videos. Nothing ever goes according to plan. Let's see, lock screen. Yeah, it looks like we got that. So messaging there. Let's go back out. And I'm not sure why it's not showing up, but there should be a little bit of a battery meter there. Let's try installing it and make sure everything looks good. 55%. Everything's installed. Oh, there we go, 55%. So you can see a physical battery number, and you can also, of course, install that on the lock screen, which is a great application. I've been complaining forever that Windows Phone needs an integrated application or some sort of either a widget or something in the operating system where you can see a physical percentage with the battery. So now, thanks to this, I can bring this up to the very top if I want to. That is not the very top. Let's keep going. Let's do this again. Bring it up to the very top. I can make it small, and let's get rid of Internet Explorer, and now I've got a physical battery percentage right up there at the top. So no longer do I have to physically do this every single time I want to see my battery indicator. Let's see how many times I can say physically in a sentence or in a phrase. T-Mobile TV is also pretty useful. It's an included application from T-Mobile that I find to be relatively decent. I think the premium version is $9.99 if I recall. Otherwise, you do get it out of the gate. I think you get some basic channels for free, but they're constantly tweaking their price points and their plans. So let's go to Live TV, for example. And there it is, TV 30-day trial for T-Mobile TV Prime. So, we'll start a trial because, well, for the most part, this is not my SIM card. So I don't mind starting a trial because this is a review device. But let's go ahead and kick it in here on T-Mobile's HSPA Plus and see how well it performs. But a lot of great Nokia applications on this device combined with some T-Mobile applications that are actually pretty useful. I'm the first to call out carriers for bloatware on devices, but actually quite a few of T-Mobile's relatively useful, at least I've found useful, and of course you can uninstall those if you see fit. But again, I'm not really a fan of these little dots that go across. It's just Windows Phone 8's way of saying it's working hard, but I don't really care for it, to be honest with you. So personal preference, you may like it. That's taking too long. Let's back out and go to the camera. Got limited time in these videos. I need the internet to move a little bit faster. And so let's load up the camera. 8 megapixel camera here, 1080p HD video recording. And one thing I really like about Windows Phone's functionality. Actually, let's use the iPhone. We'll bring this over. Take some pictures. Take some pictures. Bam, that was really blurry. Let's try this again. And let's try it again. Let's do it down here on the iPhone. And granted, the lighting is frustrating in this office, to say the least. CNN. Let's take a look at some text on the screen, see if we can get focused in on that. Let's turn the flash off. Maybe that's what's going on. Let's try this. It just does not, not a fan. So you can see picture image quality up close is a little bit of an issue, at least to me. I've seen far better camera quality there. That's a little bit better. But still, again, for a mid-range device, or what they're marketing as a mid-range device, that's not terrible. And of course, portrait to landscape, pinch to zoom, responsive all around. What I do like about this, though, is the ability to easily go from the gallery back to my live camera. And I've got some additional stuff here. 5 more lenses. I've got a panorama lens, a smart shoot lens, a cinematograph lens, and a Bing lens out of the gate, so I can take advantage of some of the nifty things that this camera does. So all in all, really impressed with the Lumia 810. Actually, I should say I'm really... not to say I'm not impressed with this, I'm more impressed with Windows Phone 8. That said, this is a decent device for those on T-Mobile. They don't want to switch. They don't want to go with the Lumia 920 or the 8X. They like Nokia. This could be a good device for you. That said, I think the price point is way too high on T-Mobile at $150. You can get this for $99 on AT&T. So if you're open to switching carriers, perhaps your contract is up and you really want Windows Phone, take a look at this. This is arguably the flagship Windows device right now, along with the 8X by HTC. But then again, for a Nokia device, it's a great improvement from the 710 and something I think a lot of people will like. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage of the Lumia 810. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, PhoneDog, Facebook, PhoneDog, or Facebook.com/PhoneDog, and then of course my personal handle, PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter. Let me know what you think of this device, and as always, we'll see you next time.